Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can I get a better greeting?
Thank you so much. Okay, I will be replacing Amir.
Favorite short host is back. So I will start with some announcement that we have. First, can you help me, Ahsan? Thank you. So we have another educational foundation which belongs to our beloved Sheikh Ibrahim Nuhu, Hafidhahullah. So what is another educational foundation? Okay, it is it's an educational foundation, of course. So at another educational foundation, it is a completely trusted and reliable source for donations. Now, what donations, you might ask, right? As we all know, Hajj is coming, right? So we have another for 1445-2024 Al-Hab project, which is now open for contributions. And we would like your support because we want to reach more than 3,000 families that are in need. It is our policy at Al-Adab Foundation that we take no administration or operational cost from the donations. The meat is not distributed arbitrarily to anyone who inquires about it. It is only after careful research and proper verification, a list is formed of those who are most needy. The preparation of the list is done with a lot of care so that meat reaches those who are genuinely deserving of the meat. Now, the foundation also has other causes ongoing. Most importantly, the hospital expansion for male ward and the school expansion to accommodate for more students as demand increased. Building your hereafter today, go through the website. Okay. Also, we have classes, which we are all here students of knowledge, right? Seeking knowledge. At a Revivers and another foundation, we also promote classes. We have weekly classes. So, yeah, as you can see on the screen. First one is Ashrat al-Sa'a. So, Ashrat al-Sa'a, we have it, signs of the final hour, day of judgment. We have it every Monday, 5:15 at Sajjahatra Hall, Ikon's Male Mosque. And then we have Riyadh al-Salihin every Tuesday after Maghrib at IIUM Shas Mosque. We have Tafsir of Quran from the beginning. Now we are at Surah Al-Baqarah every Thursday, 5:15 p.m. Sajjahatra Hall, Ikon's Mall Musalla. Bulugh al-Maram, Hadith book compilation focused on fiqh rulings every Saturday at 5:30 p.m. Sheikh Ibrahim's Sunday morning public classes at Yasin Ta'aleem Best in Islam Tafsir At-Tabari, right, of Surah Al-Ankabut. One more online class on Sunday nights. We have Ustad Sharif, Knowing Allah and His Attribute, every Sunday online, 5:15 p.m. And we have also Ink of Faith. Yeah. So we have Ink of Faith, which is a platform for readers and writers, authentically created Islamic articles and notes. You can go to Reviver's link tree on our Instagram to find and read more about it. Merchandise. Cool, right? Reviving the drip of the Ummah, you know? So if you're looking for like something cool to wear, which has the slogan of like reviving the Ummah, So you will look cool and you will send a great message, a cool message. Deen and Dunya, right? Then we have International Open University by Dr. Bilal Phillips. Great Islamic learning opportunity through e-university, all authentic learning, very beneficial and reliable. Okay, finishing with the script. Can you connect with me here? Okay, if I would love to invite our sheikhs for the Q&A session. So if you have any questions, can you put the QR? Thank you. If you have any questions, just go through the QR, ask the questions, and yeah. In the meantime, I know we're all tired. You can hear it in my voice, I'm tired as well. So I would love some energy, especially to welcome these great sheikhs. Let's do some takbir, how about that? Instead of clapping, the Western habit that you have, let's do some takbir, just to greet the sheikhs. So can I get one takbir for the sheikhs? On 3, 2, 1, takbir, please. Oh my God, you're all sleepy. More energy. 1, 2, 3. Takbir. Thank you, Abdullah. Takbir. Thank you so much, Abdullah. You have the best energy. Okay, the microphone it's shared, right? Mazen. One microphone? Okay.
It's enough for all.
Okay, so the questions. So we have, let's start with the first question. Okay, it's working. Alhamdulillah, no technical difficulties. Okay, Sheikh. So Sheikh Ibrahim, we have the first question. What is the role of school in tarbiyah?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا وحبيبنا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أما بعد. Unfortunately, this is one of the topics that I prepared to talk about, but unfortunately, time did not permit me to go through it. So thank you for opening opportunity again. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you and all of us. School is supposed to be one of the best platforms that we educate and also support our kids. You're building whatever foundation you are building. When they go to the school enhance and help you to preserve those values, and attitudes and manners that you plant in your children. This is how it's supposed to be. And that's why you are not supposed to take your child to the school according to the best approach, inshallah, unless this child can handle that. If the child cannot handle it, it's better for you to keep him within the madrasa of the mother first. That's why they advise that the first 6 years, the child should be at home with the parent. Because at that time, the child is very fragile, a very sensitive time. This is time for foundation. You'll be able to instill and to feed this child with whatever he wants to resist the evil that he might be facing when he mingles with the community. That's why it's too risky for him to go to school before that age, unless it is necessary. And also looking at the kind of education we're having nowadays, it really is going to be redundant. Because in the primary school, primary one, the vast majority of the things that he will be taught, the same thing also he got in the education that is before that. So in most instances, if you look at it with the eyes of care, you think probably it is not healthy for a person to go for this. You need that home education at that time from the first time he was born until at the time he reached the age of 6. The child is just like a white, plain piece of paper that doesn't have any writing on it. You are the one who's feeding it with whatever you want. You need that home education. It's a very strong and natural resistance that the child needs to resist the evil in the community. So I really advise that we should visit this so much, think about it. And somebody has to understand that we do have a job to do at home. The kind of life we're living in is unhealthy. Parents have no time for the kids. I work, my wife works, nobody's at home for the kids. And who is that person who is taking care of the children? We move the responsibility to the school. In the school, at home you are suffering, trying to see how to give them a good tarbiyah. Sometimes you succeed, sometimes you fail, due to the weaknesses in the principles you are using. But in the school, how many kids you have in one classroom? The ideal classroom is about 25 kids, right? Right? You at home, 3 kids, you are suffering. And now you are giving 25 students, or in some schools, actually it's more than that, for 30, 40 students in one classroom. Do you expect that person realistically to be able to do the job correctly? You are the father, you have the mercy, you have the strong connection between you and your kids, and sometimes you suffer a lot. This person, in most instances, he might not be doing it for, giving his own contribution for the sake of Allah. He's there for the sake of earning. So the concern you have in tarbiyah, he doesn't have. So we really need to visit this also as well, that somebody should understand their responsibility at this early age. There has to be somebody who is training the kids in the way when they go out of the house to that environment they'll be able to resist. Unfortunately, the role that the school is supposed to be given, it is not doing nowadays. It's hard to find a school that you can trust. When you put your child into that school, you can just take the last seat and relax. The environment is so contaminated in most instances. So that's why the school cannot do it, and realistically they can't do it, because the system we're dealing with, it is not designed to accommodate this. Trust me, it's not designed to accommodate this. Discipline is very low, and the organizers of the school, the management is not thinking of education and tarbiyah. It's all about money. Education is being commercialized. So what left for us nowadays is either to have our own establishment, which is the most important thing to do, because we are still following others in what we have. We don't have ours. Imagine even in our examination, the final examination, if you do the national one, yours has no value in the way the one who did the other examinations, the international ones. It has more value than the national examination you take in your country. This is one of the weaknesses that Ummah is facing. So we need to have our own establishment. Unfortunately, we don't have up to date. So what left is either we have this, or we go for the homeschooling. And we have a lot of homeschoolers nowadays, right? So subhanAllah, what is going on is, in the homeschooling also, you have the system, either you are just taking the same curriculum which you don't agree with, and now you are teaching it to your kids. As one of them said, it's just a job being transferred to you, rather than letting the authority do it, but now you are the one who's doing the job, feeding them with the wrong information. And sometimes also, in the homeschooling, subhanAllah, we don't think deeply before we started. Because my wife is not ready. She's not educated that much for how to teach my kids and to give them what they need. She doesn't have that. And even sometimes she has this laziness. She's not productive in the way she give the kids what they need to succeed in their educational way. So what happens is, at the end of the day, they obey. So the next thing that left with us is to have our children being gathered in one place and invite somebody to teach them. I always say, where is the homeschooling here? If my child is going to go to a place, even if that place is a masjid, but he's going to mix with other people, other kids who came from other houses, and everyone is coming with his own mentality. Do you think the kids are taking these bad behaviors from the teachers? No. The vast majority of them, they're taking them from friends. So you have also another environment. You detach them from the school, but you get them also in another place. You invite somebody to teach them. What is the difference between the school they are in and the school? You get the idea? Because when you bring a lot of people to one person take care of them, and he is not the father, trust me, that feeling and that sense of responsibility is not there that much. The whole thing is about how to preserve my job and to get the living and what I need to live and survive. So I decided to talk about this because I see it is very important nowadays, and I believe that it is a time for us to think about having our own place where you teach the students what benefits and you produce leaders. We are not too late. It is not too late. Trust me, it is not too late. We just need people who are concerned to design a proper system which is based on amana and responsibility and creation of leaders in the community. We don't want to grant an education that is based on Western kind of education that we Islamize. We have enough. We have enough knowledge. We take it from anywhere that is beneficial to us. We have a school that maintains the balance between the dunya and the akhirah. We train our kids to graduate as scientists but being scholars at the same time, so that we will not come and contradict what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about the Prophet. Because nowadays this is what is going on. He graduated with the dunya knowledge, but then he will become a problem for the community. Because he sees things based on mind. He doesn't care about what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. He always thinks in this way, but he tries to please is the only thing that works with him. You tell him, Allah, Rasulullah, this is how it works, they don't care about that. So we need to really think about this and sit down and make our own establishment. Trust me, my dear brothers and sisters, we need it. And don't take it so far, because whenever we discuss these type of matters, people think that no, it is too heavy, we can't do it. No, as long as you have good intention, Allah says, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. I always have the belief and optimism that as long as we are serious in doing what is needed, Allah SWT to support us. And change is always possible if we are willing to change. If we are willing to change, the situation will remain the way it is. And I'll close with this. The light's about to turn your time's up. And I will close with this. And I believe everyone is understanding what I'm trying to say. I believe we need to establish our own system. It's possible to have a school. This kind of belief that we have nowadays that there is no way for you to have a school that can do the job. No, I don't believe in this. I believe that we can have a school which can do the job correctly if we are having the sense of responsibility in our heart and this is what is driving us. Change is always possible. My best example is this Khalifa, Umar bin Abdulaziz. He came when things are distorted, almost nothing is being in the right way. Even the prayers also, people are not praying on time, those authority before him, he mess up almost everything. That's why Sulaiman bin Abdul Malik, they say one of the righteous deeds he did is that when he stepped into the leadership, the first thing is to fix the prayer time. All that mess that was introduced to the community by the previous authority, he fixed it first. And the last thing he did, which is good for the Ummah, was that he appointed Umar bin Abdulaziz, although it is against the norm, but he managed to listen to his personal advisor, Al-Adab Al-Mufrad, when he said, Mahmood bin Rabi is not supposed to be the next leader. He's supposed to appoint somebody from the family. But then Rajab told him, he said, sir, honestly speaking, you're not supposed to think about this because you are not moving to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why do you worry about what somebody will say after you? You're already dead. He said, don't worry, just appoint him and go. And he did. SubhanAllah, this man, he was leading the Ummah of Islam, almost you can say with around only 3 people. But he managed to change the world and the system and bring people back to their consciousness almost at the time of the Khulafa al-Rashidin. Why was it like that? And I remember one of the people was asking, one of the people was asking Al-Hasan al-Basri, he says the Prophet ﷺ said, لا يأتي زمان إلا والذي بعده شر. There will not be a time that will come, except that the time that will come after it is worse. But he said, how do we reconcile between this and the case of Umar bin Abdulaziz? Because the previous time was a mess. But he came in 2 years, he fixed the system and fixed the Al-Adab Islam. Everyone is happy, people accepted Islam, and the government have abundance of wealth. They don't know what to do with it. What did he use? Allah, he wasn't using magic or anything. What he used was that statement of Imam Malik that says, this ummah cannot be fixed except by using that which fixed the previous nation. He told the scholars that it's not to gather the sunnah of the Khulafa al-Rashidin or to follow the same language. And he succeeded. So my dear brothers and sisters, change is always possible. Let's start thinking about this to see how to have our own school. We have our own system. that maintain the balance in the dunya knowledge and the akhirah knowledge, in which inshallah we have the qadr, leaders that will lead the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to success. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you good, and so taking your
Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh. It's true, with capitalism and everything.
It keeps buzzing and going.
So yeah, I urge you guys to ask your questions here. If you have any questions. So as Sheikh said, the educational system is where our societies are built. And as you said, Sheikh, I won't add anything to you. MashaAllah, your answer is full. We move to Ustad Sharif. So your question, or the other question, someone wants to know, it's not me, okay? They want to know if we can choose our future spouse based on their religion only. Here you go, take my mic.
That's your topic.
إن الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So the question is, what if we just choose and we just give priority to first, that is the only deen, so would it be workable? Actually, what Prophet ﷺ, in the light of the hadith, tunkahul mar'atu li arba', in the light of this hadith we find out there are many options Prophet gave. It is option of wealth, beauty, and one's lineage. And then Prophet ﷺ, the fourth thing is deen. Then deen means it's not just rituals, it's a practical aspect of life, and then a person's heart is totally connected to Allah, his level of trust and his level of tawakkul upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also exemplary. If this is the thing, that the level of taqwa is altogether established, though we don't have any tool to find out whether a person has a perfect taqwa or not, it's through the behavior of a person we can recognize this. Otherwise, the inner conditions of the heart are just best known to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nobody can claim about it. But how can we just understand it's only through the apparent behavior of a person? So if taqwa is there, then all the things are altogether taken care of. Prophet, peace be upon him, whenever he would deliver the khutbah, whether this was khutbatul hajjah, khutbatul nikah, so 3 verses he would always recite, 3 verses. One was from Surah An-Nisa, and each verse starts with Ya ayyuhan nasu ttaqu rabbakum. Then second verse, Ya ayyuhan nasu ttaqu rabbakum alladhi khalaqakum min nafsin wahidatin wa khalaqa minha zawjaha wa batha minhuma rijalan kathiran wa nisa wattaqullaha alladhi tasaaluna bihi wal arham innallaha kana alaykum raqiba. The second verse he would recite, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu ittaqullaha haqqa tuqatih wa la tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun. And the third verse he would recite, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu ittaqullaha wa qulu qawlan sadida yuslih lakum a'malakum wa yaghfir lakum dhunubakum wa may yuti' Allaha wa rasulahu faqad faza fawzan 'azima. So these 3 verses, if you see, the first thing Allah mentions is taqwa. Because if this is found, then everything is altogether taken care of. وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَل لَهُ مَخْرَجًا. So whether this is about the job of a person, business of a person, about taking care of the family, we have many examples in our tradition that one of them I would like to cite over here. That is of Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib rahimahullah ta'ala, was among the tabi'in, which is also known as Sayyid tabi'in, that one of the elders of the tabi'in. It is mentioned that one day he missed out one of his students. One of his students was not in his assembly, in his circle of knowledge. So for quite long time he could not find him. Then he asked for him. Then he was told that his wife has passed away. So he called upon him and he said, why you don't join the classes? He said, since there's no one to take care of my household activities, therefore I could not join the classes. My wife, she passed away. Now, Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib rahimahullah ta'ala, he knew this guy, he doesn't have much means, much resources to support the family. And even he was not having enough to pay the mahar. He said, okay, are you ready that I give my daughter to you? And this was a daughter from the Khalifa. He also sent a proposal for his son, who was a prince And Sayyid ibn Musayyib rahimahullah, he denied. He said, no, I didn't want for my daughter, the prince, the Khalifa, the would-be Khalifa of the Ummah. And now Sayyid ibn Musayyib is giving preference to a person who doesn't have much means. But he was knowing that he has the thing that Allah will support him, because Allah promises in the Quran, وَهُوَ يَتَوَلَّى الصَّالِحِينَ. If there is taqwa, if there is salaha, then I think it's the best thing we should just go for. We should not think about other things. Now this all depends upon the degree of the iman. If the degree of iman is less, obviously people won't choose for this, they will see other things obviously. But if the level of and the degree of iman is quite high, then what we learn from the Quran and Sunnah is that we have to give preference, because Prophet ﷺ فَالْفَرْ بِذَاتِ الدِّينِ. If you truly want to be successful, then you give preference neither to the wealth, nor to the beauty, nor to the lineage. Your preference should be always to deen and taqwa. So if we focus on this, and this is the only thing that we live for. قُلْ إِنَّ صَلَاتِي وَنُسُكِي وَمَحْيَايَ وَمَمَاتِي لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Our life is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you find such a spouse, it is, I think, the best ever gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a person. Then what else we need? Then there are the questions of the provisions, the questions of, okay, how to support the family. If a person truly has this taqwa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises, يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. So that's why we need also what you call the guidance of our elders, our scholars. Because sometimes I see a person performing 5-time prayers, I think, okay, he's a very religious guy. Not necessarily, because that's one aspect of deen. So if we get the approval from the scholars, because they know what are the important things that we need to see in a person. So under the guidance of our scholars, if they consent, if they say yes, then we should go for this. We should not have the second thought about it. That's my opinion about it. Wallahu ta'ala alamu bis-sawab.
On to the next question. What is the best manner of exchanging nights or days amongst co-wives, where the husbands stay far apart from each wife? Can he spend a week per wife or 3 days each?
I have no expertise in this matter.
Sheikh Ibrahim? MashaAllah, this guy has 2 wives. Allahumma barik.
This is one of the most sensitive areas that the person approaches himself. Rasulullah did, the companions of the Prophet did, it remains the way it is. So it's not a system which cannot be denied. Whatever Allah wants justice. In the first part of Surah Al-Nisa, Allah says, فَانْكِحُوا مَا طَابَ لَكُم مِّنَ النِّسَاءِ مَثْنَىٰ وَثُلَاثَ وَرُبَاعَ. This is marry one of your choice. You choose the best one. In case 2 or 3 or 4. It means either 2 or 3 or 4. If you cannot be just in living with them, Allah said stick to it. Yes, so the condition is there, but the should not close the time. I know the question is not about this, it's about dividing the time. And I have one advice to those people who are planning to go for this, especially a person who has his own family and kids. Think a lot and deeply. Allah, think deeply. It's good to obey the Prophet ﷺ and to follow the Sunnah of Muhammad ﷺ, but since Allah SWT is not making it wajib upon you, but think wisely before you get into the system. Do not bring somebody who will come and contribute to destroying your family. Most instances we close our eyes, we just follow the desire and just go, and then later on you cry. You're going to divide your family, you have kids who are not connected to each other, separate amongst your kids, all of these things are supposed to be placed in your mind and consideration. Nobody should join that family except somebody who is going to add value to the manners and the well-being of the family. So I hope we should have this in mind, because I see nowadays a lot of people are thinking of going to this. I will not say no, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said yes, Quran said yes, that is encouraging by the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to go for it. But I advise a person not to think in the way he was thinking when he was choosing the first wife. Trust me, choosing the first wife should be much easier, more lenient, more compromising than choosing the second one. Yeah, be very careful. Otherwise, you're going to pay the price while you're trying to make things easy for yourself. If that happens, you have to be just. What is justice? Scholars usually, when they talk about this, they talk about the division of the time that you spend with each and every one of them. And the main focus is the night, right? And this one is absolutely based on the agreement between you and them. The point is, whatever time you spend with this one, you are supposed to spend the same thing with the other one. You know, they agree, you spend 1 year with this, and then the other year with the other one. You shouldn't agree with that, because you're the one who will cry afterwards. Yeah. But if they agree, this is the agreement between you and them, then that should be okay. The Prophet ﷺ, many scholars said it is not wajib upon him to do this kind of division of the time, but he did. He did. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَن تَسْتَطِيعُوا أَن تَعْدِلُوا بَيْنَ النِّسَاءِ وَلَوْ حَرَصْتُمْ فَلَا تَمِيلُوا كُلَّ الْمَيْلِ فَتَذَرُوهَا كَالْمُعَلَّقَةِ. You have 2 wives. You want to make a gift. For sure you love one of them more than the other one. Right? Because it's not easy for a person to say that his love to both of them is equal. This is something that you cannot control. That's why most of our scholars said, this ayah that I have just quoted is referring to this, the love in the heart that you cannot control. But what you should do is not to expose it in the way the other one will get hurt. You need to act as a husband to both of them, preserving their feelings. Don't show this one that I love this one more, which might affect your attitude and your behavior towards her. You want to make a gift, you're going to buy something fancy to this one, and the other one you buy the normal one, and try to get some justification for that. No, there shouldn't be any justification. When it comes to gift, you have to make it equal. Yeah, ask them, what do they want? Buy each one of them what she asked for. If this one is expensive, this is her choice. If this one is cheap, this is her choice. Yeah, you can tell her, but this one is cheap. You know, don't tell her this is what was chosen by the other one, but give them, I'm going to buy for both of you things, but I want you to choose what you want, and I'm going to buy for each whatever she asked for. But in the normal circumstances, when you want to buy something, then you have to be just, you have to be fair to each and every one of them. When it comes to the nafaqah in the house, this one is supposed to be done according to the need. You have 2 wives, one of them has 5 children, and the other one has only 1. And you give this one 100 ringgit in a day, and the other one also you give her only 100 ringgit. That's unfair, yeah? Because the need of this one is more than that one. You get it? This one is okay. So each one of them, you give them what they need in their house. Yeah. Other than that, when it comes to the love, this one is beyond your control. That's why they said, the Prophet ﷺ used to say, although this hadith is questioned by some scholars in terms of authenticity, but he used to say, Allahumma hadha qasmi fima amlik, fala talumni fima tamlik wala amlik. أو كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. He used to say, Allah, this is the extent of my ability. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم divided the time between the wives. Each one of them has her own night. That's why when Aisha radiallahu anha came to him and sat next to him, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, what are you doing? Today is not your time. She looked at him and smiled. She said, ذَلِكَ فَضْلُ اللَّهِ يُؤْتِيهِ مَن يَشَاءُ. Because Sauda, her co-wife, gave her time to Aisha. She said, Ya Rasulullah, I don't want to stay away from you, because she aged. So she has the fear that the Prophet ﷺ might leave her. So she said, Ya Rasulullah, rather than coming to me, my days I give them to Aisha. And she told Aisha this. And the Prophet ﷺ did not mind, because this is her choice. She said, Rasulullah, I just want to be your wife. Yeah. And subhanAllah, don't you ever think that the Prophet ﷺ neglected her? No, this is not Rasulullah ﷺ. Every single day, the Prophet ﷺ is going around his wives and sit with them. Because what is wrong is to go at night. Night should be with one of them. You have your night here, then tomorrow with the other one. But in the daytime, the Prophet ﷺ used to visit his wives and ask about them and talk to them. They speak to him, he speaks to them. So this is Sauda with the Prophet ﷺ. She gave her what she asked for and what she needed. So what I need here is, the Prophet ﷺ told Aisha, why are you here? She said, no, this is the fadl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He is giving to whomsoever He wishes. The Prophet ﷺ said, Ya Allah, this is the extent of my ability. And Ya Allah, don't hold me responsible of what you control, which I have no control over it. You are lying when you tell your wife, she's the most beloved one, Most likely you love the other one. You get the idea. So you shouldn't go with this, That's the attitude of the gangsters. You tell her, I love you so much, that's good, that's fine. Yeah. If she is smart, she will not trust you because you're also saying to the other one, you're the most beloved one. Yeah. So basically what you need in this system is to be just and to be fair to each and every one of them in your treatment, in your speeches, in your gift, in the night division, according to what you have agreed between you and them. And when you make gift, make sure that you are doing the justice in giving them a normal gift. But when it comes to the nafaqah, the scholar said each one of them should be treated according to what she needs, looking at the size of the family. You give them according to that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala aid those who are thinking to go into the system, because if you fail to be just, and I hope everyone is listening to this, if you fail to be just, there is a heavy consequence awaiting this person. The Prophet ﷺ said, the one who is not just in dealing with one of his wives, he will come on the day of judgment, half of his body is falling and he will be dragging it on the floor. So it's not an easy thing to be doing. So think wisely is good, since the Prophet ﷺ recommended it and the companions said it, but be very careful and make sure that you are ready for that, inshallah. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Alhamdulillah.
So the question is, how important is the aqidah in marriage?
The question is, how important is aqidah in marriage? I think the Shaykh already answered in terms of the importance of religion. So definitely aqidah is one of the essential foundations of religion. When we say we're looking for someone who's religious, automatically we mean we want someone who has the right beliefs. Because if they don't have the right beliefs, then you cannot say they have a good religion. As the Shaykh said, even if you may see physical rituals being done, such as they pray 5 times a day or something like that, right? So I think religion, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, what it does for us, it gives us a high level of compatibility with our fellow believer. Because automatically we have the same worldview. We have the same high level objectives, mission, vision, target. And that's important for the family, because the family has to have a direction that we want to head in. What is the most important thing to us as a family, as believers, right? Because you can see in different families, especially if you're dealing with non-Muslims or secular people who are away from the deen, then you can see, for example, the family is all about money. The family is all about status. The family is all about career. So the parents, that's for them, then they push it on their kids, and then the kids, you see them coming out that way. Number one thing is, can I get this kind of salary? Can I drive this kind of car? So based on that belief that that is the most important thing in life, you then push and you raise your children based on that, right? So if we don't come with the same worldview, if we don't come with the same objectives as mother and father, husband and wife in that family, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a clash where you're going to either, collide with each other or separate and say we got to go our separate ways. And then that can be a catastrophe, because who is going to end up with the children? Who's going to end up raising them and influencing them the most? And I say this based on experience, coming from a family where my mother is not a Muslim and my father is a Muslim. And that's not an easy thing, right? But somehow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided us bifadlillah, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to truly guide us and keep us on the straight path. Of course, there are other aspects of kafa'ah, because I think it's naive for us to think that if we have that element in common, then it'll make everything else smooth. So we do see the fuqaha, for example, talking about things like, this man and woman may not be compatible for each other due to various other factors. And sometimes our shuyukh, I remember when we were very young and we said we want to get married, and the only thing we're looking for is a woman who's on the same aqeedah as us, for example, and she's a student of knowledge and she's going for the deen and so on. And then he said, well, what about cultural aspects? You're going to sit with her and what will you joke about, for example? And he started laughing. Right? He's saying, like, you're going to sit and talk about what? You'll have nothing in common because you're not from the same culture, you're not from the same background. And I've seen that now firsthand when we deal with a lot of conversions for the new Muslims. Many times the conversions, especially here in Malaysia, are related to marriage. So we're helping a Chinese and a Malay who want to get married, so one is converting for the sake of the marriage, or we're dealing with an Indian and a Malay, or we're dealing with a Orang Putih, we're dealing with a Matsale, a white person who's coming and wants to convert to Islam and get married to a local, for example. So sometimes 6 months, a year later, they're coming back to us with all kinds of problems. And so what we do is we try to do some pre-marriage counseling and talk to them. For example, at that center, Sheikh Hussein and others will sit with them, will sit with the future in-laws, because in marriage, the problem is it's not just two people. These two people may be very open-minded and they say we're willing to be flexible and to adapt because we're urban, we live together, our culture is blended now. Like for me growing up in America, the culture becomes somewhat American. Here the culture is somewhat Malaysian, but race, upbringing, background still plays a role, still plays a role. So I remember when I wanted to get married, my father said, who do you have in mind? And then he said, any Libyans on the list? And I said, does that matter? And he said, it may matter. One day you may end up back there and it's going to help you a lot if you have something in common, you have the same homeland that you might want to go back to and so on. He started bringing up all these practical aspects that as a young person, you're not really thinking that far in advance. You're just thinking sort of short term and you're thinking from that religious angle. So you say, well, the only thing that really matters is the deen. But I would say from my practical experience, what I've seen now dealing with some of these cases is that things don't always work out because of the lack of compatibility. Wallahu a'lam. So the aqeedah definitely is essential. What was the question? How important is aqeedah? It's the most important thing, no doubt. No doubt. But I would say that there are still other matters that can be taken into consideration. You could say if we have the same aqeedah, we're 70, 80% compatible. But there's still that 15, 20% that you don't want to forget about that can impact the future. Wallahu a'lam. It's not that it's impossible to make it work, but marriage can be challenging. And the more differences you add in cultural, in language, in previous religion, between the in-laws, all those things can put more strain on the relationship and make it more difficult. Wallahu a'lam.
What if the woman is more pious/religious than the man? Should it be a must requirement in marriage that the man, as the leader, should be more religious than the woman? So the question is, if there's a woman and she's more religious, more pious than the man, what should they do? And should it be a requirement that the man, as the leader of the house, should the man be the one that is more religious and pious?
We should answer this question, Sheikh Ibrahim.
He sent it back. Huh? Wallahi, I don't know. I'm not going to answer, Sheikh. La a'lam.
What is the question?
So the question,
It's a problematic question.
yeah. So if the woman is more religious and pious than the man, what is the situation here? And should it be a requirement that the man as a leader should be more pious and more religious than the woman.
May Allah forgive Ustaz Sharif and Ustaz Sajjad for always throwing this thing on my shoulder. But since it is a sharing session, I don't mind to share what I have. Actually, I don't know, why do we think that one of them should be more righteous than the other one? Because I can't think of any statement of anyone that says one of them should be more righteous than the other one. Yeah. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is asking for the deen from both sides. She should be religious, he should be religious. And we all know what the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is asking for. And religion, although my mashayikh already talk about this, religion, I call it a haris. You know, you have any other things that count in marriage, as Ustaz Sajjad, Ustaz Sharif mentioned, compatibility in so many aspects. But trust me, religion is the haris, protector and the guard, that guard and protect all of those other things that you have. With no religion, you will regret. Sayyid ibn al-Musayyib says, when you give your daughter to somebody, he said, give her to somebody who has religion. Because he is the only one who respects when he loves, and he will not harm when he hates. Both need this. The wife needs this and the husband needs this. And you know, the good thing about religion is that after all of these things that you're looking for, you know, without religion, trust me, no matter how much, even if you're married to your cousin or somebody who is too much attached to you, you're going to have a lot of issues. That's why we have issues and problems in the country which they rarely marry from others. But marriage is, which shows that there is something which is lacking in those marriages, which is the correct approach in religion and lack of taqwa, as Sheikh Sajjad mentioned. Because if you have a muttaqi to be a partner, because marriage is a system which you are supposed to design the way you want to live, you and your spouse. Sit down and discuss matters and plan how you want to grow your children. That's why you have your own establishment, you have your own family sometimes against the tayyar, because the cultural practice might not be correct. And you will not like your family to grow having these type of mentalities. So you need to have your own establishment. So if you don't have somebody to cooperate with you, you will not be able to do that. So the taqwa that your wife has will help her always to cooperate with you, because she knows what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala requires from her in her relationship with you. So that's why sometimes with all the gaps that are between you and her, if she fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so much, trust me, those they will be bridged and covered, and you have an excellent life. Because woman is a woman and a man is a man, from wherever they're coming from. So I'm not saying those ones are not important, like what my scholars have mentioned. They're very important, very, very important for you to pay attention to them. There is a book written by Ibn Abdul Qawi, Manzumat Al-Adab. He was giving a series of advices to the people who want to marry. He talks about this compatibility in a very beautiful way. Don't go and marry from people who are very and extremely rich, and if you're coming from the poor background. In most instances, you are going to be the most humiliated one, and you will hear a lot of things because you are dependent on them, you know, which might put you into trouble. Your qawama or qiwama might not be observed properly. لا تنكحن إن كنت شيخا فتية. If you are too old, then go and marry a young person, very young person. You might end up accepting, because you cannot fulfill her desire, you might end up being into trouble. So all of these things, they are part of the compatibility we're looking for. But at the end, after he gives advice and he talks about all of these things, he says, عَلَيْكَ بِذَاتِ الدِّينِ تَظْفَرُ بِالْمُنَى. Because this is what the Prophet ﷺ said. He said, take that to deen, the one who has religion. You will be successful. Yeah, because the religion is haris. It protects all of those other compatibility that you're looking for in your wife and also the husband. If you lost the religion, everything is going to be missing. And this is also a message to the sisters. You know, there's a message to the sisters and to the brothers as well. The most important key in this journey of yours, a journey of marriage, is this religion, your religion. It protects. We have a lot of stories starting from the time of the Prophet ﷺ. When he divorced his wife Hafsa, what happened after that? How religion protects that relationship with the Prophet ﷺ, because Jibril came to him and said to him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking you, how can you divorce a woman that is very dedicated to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And Allah commanded him to bring her back. Subhanallah. Jibril talk about her religion, her dedication to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you have a lot of beauties in life, right? Beauty of education, beauty of physical appearance, and beauty of wealth, beauty of the community, the position and the kind of family you have. But trust me, the only beauty that will never perish and finish is the beauty of the religion. And that has a secret in it. If your marriage is based on religion and good manners first and foremost, and then other factors, I'm not saying you should neglect them. Don't you ever neglect the other factors. But start with the religion first. If they don't qualify in the religion and manners, wallahi, I'm advising you honestly, kick out that proposal and keep it aside. Don't marry a person who promised to change because of you. It's a very risky business you are entering in, because you're not going to remain in the way you are. And the moment you start to change, that person will start going back to their old attitude and behavior. Go and get somebody who is ready-made. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Alayka bidhati ad-din." Take the one who has religion. Get the one who has religion, because the Prophet ﷺ said, you will be successful. You get it? So this religion is a protection of this beauty that the woman has. A person might not realize the change that is going to take place in his wife for ages. That's one of the keys that we turn to forget. Religion makes your eyes, subhanAllah, I will not say blind, and makes you not see the deficiency that is taking place in the spouse. Life will always be excellent after ages. The kind of respect will be maintained, because we have something that Sheikh Ustad Sharif mentioned that you share in common. These values that are based on religion and good manners. So no matter how much you change, that respect is going to be maintained. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us good. So to answer that question, there is no difference in terms of religion. Each one of them has to be upon a very good practice of the religion. We don't say you should make the husband more religious than the wife. No, each and every one of them has to be a religious person, because this is the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us good. Barakallahu feek.
Now listening to the others, live questions. If any one of you has a question, you might raise your hand. Yes, brother. Can you get an honor? Yeah.
Also, we our time because, for instance, my case, I'm a worker. I'm coming to work from let's say 9 to 6 p.m. Before that, I have to travel from house to office, and then I have 6 children. I have a wife, and then how as a Muslim we limit our time, because now other than working, we also have to learn. We also have to educate our children. We also have not only educate our children, but wife also. Also have them. And from our side, we also have to learn Islamic knowledge. And then we have also communicating our body by doing exercise. Also we maintain that 24 hours. Perhaps you can share your experience. Currently, we have one wife, perhaps you have more experience than me. So perhaps you can share your best practices to manage a family. I mean, best practices in this time of our family. Just about it.
No, I'm tired of talking.
Who was the question for?
Yeah,
Huh? Me?
Alhamdulillah.
The question was for Sheikh Ibrahim, right? Huh? All three of us? Allah understand. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah. I think definitely time management is an issue for all of us, and it's been an issue for generations and for centuries, because we see our early predecessors and our great scholars worrying about it and talking about it, especially when a person has chosen a path in which they want to seek knowledge, and which they want to learn the religion and practice it and get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, while still having to take care of the duties and the responsibilities of this life, like earning a living and taking care of our families and so on. Balancing it is it's not easy. Usually if you're going after one, it's going to be ala hisab al-akhir. If you're going after something, it's going to be at the expense of the other. So if you are chasing full speed after akhirah, you may end up neglecting dunya to some extent. And if you're chasing full speed after dunya, for sure you're going to end up neglecting your deen and your akhirah. So there is an element of trying to balance, but giving preference to that which deserves to be given preference. Now the good thing in Islam is that almost everything we do, as long as we are doing it with the right intention and we are doing it the right way, we are following the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, then it can fall under that broader umbrella of ibadah. Meaning Allah can reward us for commuting to work and doing grocery shopping and taking care of our family in all different ways, whether it's dunya, deen, and akhirah. So this is a beautiful thing, and it means that 24/7 we can be in a state of ibadah all the time. So the person should not regret the time that they're working or regret the time that they're doing something which is more dunya related, because at the end, if it's for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah will reward you for it, bi'idhnillah, and accept it from you. Now my personal experience, because I work in a multinational corporation and I have similar sized family to you and so on, so I still try to find some way to balance and add in time for seeking knowledge and for giving back and doing some da'wah activities and so on. Definitely I'm falling short in that area, and it's not the same as being freed up and dedicated to do that. But ma la yudrak kulluhu la yutrak julluhu. The saying goes, if you can't get all of it, don't leave all of it. At least do some of it. Do as much as you can. So you talked about the time that you commute to work. You're spending half an hour, you're spending 1 hour on the public transportation or in your own car or whatever it is on the way to work. That's a perfect time to listen to a lecture, right? That time that you're commuting there and back, within a short period of time, you can find that you've completed a full series, right? And you have to take advantage of those times in between. So if you look at the righteous predecessors and how stingy they were with their time and how precise they were with their time, it's something mind-boggling. They didn't allow any minute, any second to be wasted. And they would multitask in ways that we don't even fathom or imagine today. So if a person really wants to invest, then let's say I have to start work at 9, but I'm getting up at 5:30. There's a long time between 5:30 and 9, right? I'm getting up for Fajr, for example. Well, between Fajr and the time I need to leave for work, is there any time that I can do something in there? 20 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes? There is, if you squeeze it. Let's say somebody says, I'm going to go and do some exercise. I need to get in my daily exercise for my physical health. While you're doing that, you can listen to something, you can do. I mean, I had shuyukh that while we were driving from the hotel to the venue for the conference, he was giving a lecture on the speakerphone for 20 minutes while driving to his students in another state. And then during the break, he had a 15-20 minute break, he was giving a lecture for another group. And then when we were driving back, I said, Ya Allah, what is this? He didn't get tired, he didn't get exhausted, and he looked at every gap as a chance to invest. So do we live that way? Because at work you're gonna have breaks, you're gonna have a lunch break, you're gonna have this. Certain days maybe you're fasting, so you're not gonna eat the lunch, so part of that time could be used for seeking knowledge or giving back. There's a million ways to do things, right? Then comes the weekend, we have 2 full days. A chunk of that time is for the family. You say, children, this is your time, let's go. But then there's other time where maybe you're gonna participate and volunteer in a da'wah activity or give a talk at the level that you're capable of giving and sharing some knowledge with others. So I think there is a way to include all areas and aspects of that in our life. And I think the secret sauce is barakah. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps you, then somehow it fits and it works, and He can make it that all the parties are pleased, and only Allah knows why. So you find the wife is happy and the kids are happy and the work is happy, and you said, somehow it's balancing, and you don't know. You feel you are falling short in all of them, but somehow Allah will make it that there will be some barakah there, subhanAllah, in the time and the money and all these things. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase His blessings and to accept. So someone else will participate? No? Allah understand. Zid.
And Abdullah, let me just add on top of what Ustaz Sharif mentioned to the person who asked the question. My advice to you, if you are with us, is to make sure that you finish your job in the office, in the company. Don't bring job to the house, because this is your responsibility, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask you and question you about it. So making the balance between the two is that, okay, I know that I have things which are my responsibility to serve the company. So I try to finish all of my activities in the company. When I come back home, this is just home time. Otherwise, if you're coming with this mentality of having other things also to finalize, which belong to the company, usually we come back very sensitive. Very sensitive. The kids want to play with you, you have no time for them. And the wife also has to be very careful in the way she responds to you and all of these things. But I believe if you take this manhaj, finish whatever I can finish, when I reach back home, this is just home time. Me and my family. Until tomorrow. Whatever is left that was not done, when I go back to the office, I get busy with it. I finish and then I go back home. And also take this manhaj of the Prophet ﷺ, that whenever you don't have something to do outside, go back to the family. The family we don't have time for our family. When he was saying the questions, I was remembering a statement said by one of our brothers. He said, when I said, شَغَلَتْنَا أَمْوَالُنَا وَأَهْلُنَا, our business and our wealth and our family made us busy. He said, no, Ibrahim, this is not like that nowadays. It's just شَغَلَتْنَا أَمْوَالُنَا. We are busy with our wealth. We have no time for our family. And this is absolutely true. So I take the best way, I believe, inshallah, the best way is when you are done with the outside life, back home. Your kids need your education. They need that friendship. And especially in our time, this is one of the things that I wanted to talk about. You must make sure that you create a very good relationship between you and your family members. This will deprive them from taking others and giving them importance more than you. If they see you as a monster, an approachable person, trust me, they will take from others and have manners and values that you have to suffer to fix it from them. So they need your time. And I do believe, like what Ustaz Sharif said, we do have time. It's all about time management. I believe we have time. It's all about time management. If you manage your time properly, your family will get more than enough. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. So to summarize my addition on top of what Ustaz Sharif had mentioned, is that finish your job in the office. Don't bring office work to the house. The family has a right over you, and Allah will question you about that. Make sure that this responsibility, you handle it properly. And also, whenever you finish whatever you're doing outside, make this time for the family members, every time at home. Don't worry about that. The Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا قَضَى أَحَدُكُمْ حَاجَتَهُ, if one of you finished with his job, whatever business he has outside, لِيُعَجِّلَ الرُّجُوعَ إِلَى أَهْلِهِ, let him go back to his family members. Yeah, they need you. You should be with them. Make some, good and strong attachment and connection. Let them believe that you are the backbone in their life. They cannot survive after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala except with your existence. We need that as a very strong protection, and also giving the right of the family in the way it should be done. Allahu a'lam. Barakallahu feek.
Now the problem is
That's 1 second. And I was, Ustaz Sharif says, but the problem nowadays we work with home. That's one point which is part of my personal experience. I get my family involved in my job when I bring it home. Rather than doing it alone, I get them involved in the job. What they cannot do, I teach them. So I sit with my wife, discuss matters. Sometimes, trust me, I call my kids, I ask them, what is the meaning of this word? Sometimes I know the meaning, but I want them to get involved, not to feel that I disconnected myself from them. So you're walking from house, ask them to connect this with you and come, tell them also come and listen. Although you don't understand, I will explain to you how is it. You know, make it a very jokey way. Don't impose it on them. They will enjoy bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, and that gap will be filled, inshallah. Sorry for missing this. Sure.
Is it disrespectful to ask my father to redirect funds towards marriage? Like, for example, he told me that I will give you this money, so you can travel back home and see your relatives, or you can go off, or you can do whatever. And it's disrespectful to ask him to redirect the funds towards marriage. And from his side, is he sinful for knowing that I'm in need of marriage and still he decides to direct the funds towards something?
You should be looking there. You should be looking at, your eyes should be there. Abadan. This is Ustaz Sharif. That is his department, not mine.
Is it disrespectful to ask my father to redirect, the money that he wants to do something with for me towards marriage? And from his side, after knowing that I'm in need of that marriage, and still he decides to spend it on something else that's still for me, is he sinful for that? That he knew that I'm in need of that marriage, but still he decided to spend it on
something else.
The question is your father sinful for spending his money on something for you, but not marriage, something else?
Yeah, after that I requested for it to be married.
You insisted on marriage and he said no. Because you see, sometimes, I remember when I was very young approaching my father and saying, I'd like to get married, and he almost laughed. And he said, it's difficult. If I'm going to approach families now, the age that you are at, the situation you are in, it's still not where it should be, right? But then a short time later, maybe a couple of years, and I was still quite young, he came to me proactively and said, isn't it time you got married already? I said, mashallah, okay, yes, that's what I've been waiting for and hinting at. So I didn't necessarily go against him or fight what he was seeing, because naturally parents have a lot of experience, they have knowledge, they have wisdom that sometimes we don't appreciate, and we feel they don't know because they're not looking at it from the right angle. And that's not to say that there are some parents who, due to their lack of religion or lack of knowledge in religion and so on, may be trying to guide us in the wrong direction. But in general, we know our parents want good for us. So it would be good to have a frank conversation, if it's possible, depending on the nature of the relationship with the parent, to say, why do you feel I'm not ready to get married? What is it, that you're worried about? And they may say, well, I'm worried about your education, or I'm worried about you're not earning yet, you don't have a good enough job, you're just working part-time here and there, or something like that, right? So see what you can do to put a plan with him to resolve those concerns, because they're legitimate concerns. Tomorrow you're going to take somebody's daughter, which father is going to accept to give you that girl, and you're not in any position whatsoever to establish a household for her, for example, right? So the father is thinking in those terms. If somebody like you came to me to ask for my daughter, would I be ready to hand her over? Probably not. So you're not ready yet. This is how they're thinking. Not realizing what we're thinking about is, I can't take it anymore. I must get married ASAP, right? Because I feel that there are so many things that cannot be fulfilled without marriage and so on. So it's trying to open that line of communication to help him. Because what happens for us, parents and grandparents, we have like an amnesia. We forgot what it was like to be that age somehow, right? Because at our age, already things are settled, the hormones have settled, the passions have settled, and we are focused on other things. And we've also seen a lot of things go wrong and people's relationships get derailed. And so we have that kind of hindsight and that wisdom. And so we're telling them, yeah, they're so impatient, but they just wait a little bit, everything will settle down, they're gonna be fine. But it's not the same as when your hand is in the fire versus you are just watching it for somebody else and talking about it, right? So you have to realize that it can be hard for them to empathize with what you're going through, and you may have to be quite frank and try to explain it to them and help them understand and see what you can do to mobilize this yourself. Meaning, do I need to rely only on Baba to take care of it? Can I do something myself? Can I get a job? Can I start to earn some money? To say, listen, I have this money ready and here's what I would like to do. Can I get your blessings? Can you support me in that? Rather than I come to him and say, can you fund this and can I find a way that I can do it myself? And nowadays from a young age, we can start a business online. We can do many different things, Yani, that the modern situation has enabled. So this would be my advice, right? Because the culture I come from is we started working when we were like 15 years old. By the time I'm 18, 19, I don't ask my father for money. No, there's no such thing. I'll feel ashamed to come to him and say, can I get money for fuel or clothes or any of those kind of things? I take care of that stuff myself. Even my education, I took care of it on my own. By the time I was graduating, I came to my father, I said, I got a bachelor's degree in such and such. I informed him after the fact and I did it on my own. So it's a different culture, it's a different mentality. You know best the relationship you have in your culture and in your family, what's the way that you need to approach it. But I wouldn't look at it from this mentality. I would look at it, I want to get him on board, right? How can I get him to buy in? Like in the corporate world, when we have stakeholders and when we want to make a decision or we want to get a project funded or we want to move something forward, it's about getting the buy-in and thinking from that stakeholder's perspective. The stakeholder sees it from his own angle and he's saying, no, veto, I don't want to let it go. Okay, why he doesn't want to let it go? Oh, he's worried about 1, 2, 3. Okay, how can I make him feel confident about those issues so he won't block this decision and can let that move forward, right? So it's the same thing here in marriage. It's just about working with your parent to get them to have that confidence to let you move forward. Wallahu a'lam. Can you add anything, Sheikh?
A sister is asking, I have been approached by someone, and he is a widower, but my mother doesn't want to open any opportunity to this person. So Sheikh, my question is, how to gain my mom's confidence and my mom's trust, and how to open my mom's mind, because from the rejection, I can see that the biggest reason is just because he's a widower with one daughter. Yeah, it's for him.
It's for him. It's for you, Sheikh.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رحمة الله على نبينا وحبيبنا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. أما بعد, parents, you shouldn't fight parents when it comes to marriage. And as I always mention whenever I speak about this topic, there are 5 entities that you should make sure that you get them on board before moving forward to marrying whoever you want to marry. Your parents, her parent, and the one you want to bring to your family. If one of them is not happy with that marriage, it's better for you to look into the way to convince them. Yeah. You can look for your right Islamically when you are sure that this person is qualified, right? But do it calmly and don't fight parents. You can resist, but in a nice way. And don't worry, it might take time. But some days, they are going to calm down if you improve your behavior and your good relationship with them. I'm talking to you based on people that I know, they have a journey like this. SubhanAllah, some of them, their family cry when they talk to them about marrying somebody. I have somebody that I know like this. I know the story that whenever he talks to his mother cried. They don't want. So I always tell him, just be patient, don't push. If you understand that she's going to get annoyed when you talk, just cool down. Try to get moments when she's so happy, then open the case slowly. When she resists in a very negative way, cool down, don't talk. But sabr. because this is necessary. It doesn't make sense for you to marry a person that your parents are not happy to see him. How are you going to visit them in the future? And that person, especially if it is a woman, she would not feel comfortable to know that your parent don't like her. That is going to also be reflected in the kind of life you're going to be having with her. It will be a very sensitive life. She feels that she doesn't belong to your family and to you, as well. Although she might be trying to cope with the situation, but trust me, she will never relax. She will live a life of depression. It's not good for you to accept and tolerate this life. Alhamdulillah, we have millions of other sisters, millions of other brothers. If this one doesn't work, look for somebody else. So my answer to that question is to be patient, to act like this person that I was quoting to you, his story. And subhanAllah, he reached a time when he told me that he talks to his mother for the first time. She smiled. She used to cry whenever he opens the case. She smiled. And she told him, why not? And I was among those people who attended the marriage after the mother was happy with the marriage. And he has children right now from that marriage. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless them. So I believe with patience, if you believe that this person is qualified, you really want to go with him because he's a responsible person upon the taqwa and you're okay with him. He's compatible to you, it's okay. But to go with the parent gradually and slowly and look into the elders who can convince them in a nice way. Sometimes liaison with the grandparent works a lot because they have the old mentality. When you talk to them about, my father is not wanting me to marry this person, they will tell you all of his history. He's also like this and that, and they will call him and give him commands, for him to do. But you have to be very careful to make sure that, yes, this person deserves it. Especially with the sisters, she must make sure that the one that she is looking for and insistent that this person should be in her company should be somebody who really, really worth that. And as I said, sabr, and don't fight a parent. Keep on being patient. Otherwise, if they don't like this person, look for somebody else. Do we have brothers? Do we still have brothers who are not married? No, I'm not looking for a candidate. But I'm just going to say, since I think we have millions of unmarried people, if she doesn't agree with this, perhaps you might like something, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, but it is not good for you. This might be one of the obstacles that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put to deprive you from that marriage, which inshallah, if you're patient and make your parent happy in that, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala, you will be happy with whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you in the future. You get it? But if you think this one is really fine, it's okay, and he has no problem, and this person is a righteous person that could be trusted, keep on going with the parent gradually and slowly and calmly, and don't fight. Yeah, don't fight, and be upon the best manners. Don't show them any resistance or rejection. Cool down. When they don't want you to talk, don't talk. Look for circumstances when they are very happy, and then open the topic in a very nice way. Inshallah, a day will come. If it is good for you, and do istikhara also, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to choose for you the best. If it is good for you, they will come by themselves and accept it. Inshallah azza wa jal. Barakallahu feekum. I'm done. Has to.
So the question is, what should we prioritize first? Trying our best to get rid of bad habits, such as watching adult films before we start looking for marriage? Or should we start approaching others for marriage, hoping that the bad habit will go away because of getting married? Okay, so should we get rid of the bad habit before we get married? Or get married and then hope that the bad habit will go away?
What kind of background is guys?
Just prioritizing these things that I should just get rid of these what you call the bad stuff first, and then you should marry, or I should marry, then all these things will go off its own. Actually, first of all, we need to understand that we are not sure that how long I'm going to stay on this planet. Because one of the basic tools of shaitan is the sweep. The sweep is that he makes us think, if you do this wrong, okay, now in future definitely you just give it up. This is the sweep, and this is one of the deadliest trap of shaitan. So if any of our brothers and sisters are stuck in this specific trap of evil things, the first and foremost thing is to get back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, cry before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and ensure that out of all those means that will help us to get out of this mess. Because just thinking, okay, marriage alone will just solve all these problems won't help. Because if it's in our heart is inclined towards these bad things, because Shaitan is always there, Nafs Ammar is always there, Inna Nafs Ammar Bisu. And believe me that once Nafs asks us for something bad, it's not that he's pleased with it. You are out to complete it and there's another desire that pops up. And then Shaitan makes you think, yes, it's the second thing only, after this you'll give it up. But before you are about to complete the second one, the third one already is there, popping up. And there is a reckless chain of all these disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there's a possibility that we don't find the time to make tawbah as well. Therefore, every time, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, the first mechanism that we need to put in place is that whenever we do any wrong deed, we should do some good deed with it. Because in the hasanat, you give nasiyah. And Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he gave nasiyah to Sayyidina Mu'adh and he said to him, ittaqillah haythuma kunta. O Mu'adh, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wherever you are. وَآتِ بِالسِّيَّةَ الْحَسَنَةَ تَمْحُهَا. And if you commit any bad deed, then you should follow a good deed. Why? تَمْحُهَا, that good bad deed will be erased and replaced by the good deed. And we don't know, as I said before, all of us in this hall, if I ask you a question that, how long have you been on this planet? We can easily answer this question just by taking our date of birth until now. Somebody say 40 years, some say 20 years, some say 25, 60. As per our date of birth. If I ask the second question, that how long we shall survive on this planet? Can we answer how long we shall survive on this planet? Definitely not. None of us will be able to say that how long I'm going to be on this planet. So it means that and death keeps no calendar at all. Time and tides, therefore the best approach is whenever we fall into the trap of any evil, the best thing is the Prophet Nasiha that we should be a good deed. One of the Sahabis said, Ya Rasulullah is reciting La ilaha illallah is a good deed. The Prophet said, it's afdalul a'mal, best of the deeds. So the best thing is that if you truly want to get rid of all these mess your quota we are stuck in, first thing is that start doing the good deeds and then try to avoid this bad company, because bad company is one of the nowadays. If you truly want to get back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the first and foremost thing is that we need to change our company. We need to see whom I'm always hanging around with. Because the man is known by the company he keeps, and the birds of same feather flock together always. Therefore, we need to set our priorities. My priority is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My priority is to live a pious life, a peaceful life, and a righteous life, and for these certain demands of it. And then connecting ourselves to the scholars. Because it is the scholars who will tell us how to take ourselves from this mess. So this is, I do not say that these are the priorities, okay, I get married and I give it up. No, it's a nurse actually. Before the marriage, after the marriage, it is a proper training. There are many people who are married but still they are indulging into very evil things. So marriage is very important. It helps us to seek to gratify our needs for the halal channels. But at the same time, it's not the only thing that will help us to get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So before the marriage and after the marriage, there is constant, sustained effort to get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is through seeking the knowledge properly and then not just gather the data, or rather transforming that knowledge into the practice with ikhlas. Three things are important: ilm and amal and ikhlas. If inshallah we focus on these points, you will see there is a paradigm shift in the life of a person. A paradigm shift will be there. Otherwise, Shaitan will always make us think, if we do this and this and this and this and this, then a sleep. Remember, a sleep is one of the deadliest tools of Shaitan. To delay things, to make us think, okay, if you reach a specific age, then you will do this, then you will give it up, then you do this. So, we need to just think that I'm here, I don't know how long, and what should be the last moment of my life. So before that, I should make tawbah. And Hasan al-Basri also gave a good nasiha, because he said, just ensure that every time you do tawbah, La ilaha illallah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's also hadith that Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to seek istighfar. One narration says 100 times, another narration says 70 times. The Quran clearly mentions that Allahu ma taqaddama min dhanbika wa ma ta'akhkhar. This is our firm belief that Prophet was ma'soom, immaculate, impeccable, sinless and guiltless, but still he usually seek istighfar. So therefore, I advise all my brothers and sisters, just always ensure that we do istighfar all the time. And this will help our heart to get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then we need a little courage. And what is the courage? That is to control the nafs. Someone asked the Shaykh that how far is Jannah? How far is the Jannah? He says only 2 steps away. One step upon your nafs, second in the Jannah. If you trample your nafs, you control your nafs, it's nafs ammara, trying to take it to the second level, that is nafs lawama. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves nafs lawama. Lawama is not that he's not committing sins, but he has this feeling of the sins. This guilty feeling he has always there. So this realization of the obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very important. So, without prioritizing these things, without getting into the trap of the sleep, that okay, I believe this, then I do this. So a person should always just think that, no, I need to get back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because if not willingly, unwillingly, I'll be getting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So our effort should be to go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala willingly, and that's only possible when we make our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala much better. هذا ما عندي والله تعالى أعلم بالصواب. And if our Sharif would like to act in this, or Sheikh Ibrahim, I highly appreciate it.
You want me to? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So the moderator is asking if I can add something. I think Sheikh did more than enough to cover it. The only thing I might add is when you look from a relationship perspective, for a relationship to be healthy, both parties in the relationship should already be sound and healthy. And sometimes the relationship is dysfunctional if one member in the relationship is dysfunctional and unstable. And if the person thinks that by bringing someone into my life and having this relationship, my dysfunction is going to go away, it's not a healthy approach. You yourself should already be sound and stable and able to bring something good to the relationship, and together you're better. But for you to say, I'm quite unstable and dysfunctional, for example, a person has a very strong addiction, like what we were talking about in this case, if it's a severe addiction to pornography, for example, this is something that will have a direct impact on that type of a relationship. So resolving that issue, and as the Shaykh said, ASAP, because a person doesn't know when they will meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, needs to be the priority. And we do find there are a lot of issues that will come back in relationships where this kind of an addiction exists for one of the people in the relationship. Many times it will destroy it. And what you find, subhanAllah, is this kind of an addiction rewires the brain, they said. I was looking at the materials that Sheikh Wa'il Ibrahim sent me about the research. It rewires the brain to the point that the person cannot find pleasure in a normal way. The person may even have erectile dysfunction physically, for example. The person will have rage. The person will be possibly abusive. It can lead to many extreme things if it continues on. So it is something that needs to be treated, because addiction is an issue that must be addressed and resolved. And at many times it may need intervention of someone else. So there are programs and there are professionals that one can see. This kind of addiction, what it releases in dopamine, they said is more addictive than cocaine. More addictive than cocaine. Can someone quit cocaine cold turkey and very easily? Sometimes. But many times they cannot without help and without intervention. So I would advise for something like this that people reach out, and there are programs. Sheikh Wa'il has what's called Aware Academy in Australia. Aware Academy, and I think they have online programs geared towards Muslims to help them leave and quit this kind of addiction. And it's many addictions nowadays. It's screen addictions and social media addiction and gaming addictions, and all of them, anything that's an addiction is harmful by nature, subhanAllah, because it's something that the behavior even can lead you to do things where You are losing your job because of it. You're destroying the relationship because of it. You are financially harming yourself physically, emotionally, psychologically. Wallah al-musta'an. So, asallan yu'afina, may Allah save all of us and protect all of us. It's not an easy situation, but it's growing like a cancer or like an epidemic, and something needs to be done about it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us and our youth.
We have the last question.
That's it.
The Sheikh here.
There's the Sheikh here.
Can someone give him a microphone?
Firstly, for those people who ask about convincing their parents about taking the marriage, I would like to tell you, the two of my daughters, three daughters studied here, and two found their matches over here. And we as parents, my wife and I, decided that they get married and we will support them till they are able to stand on their own feet. And in a lighter way, I always joke that IIUM is International Islamic University of Matrimony. That should be a convincing argument for your parents to say, look, I met this sheikh, not sheikh, by virtue of the likeness of the beard, not to my knowledge, that he did that, so that I can't do it for me. So one observation I have, which I think may not go down very well with you, is oftentimes when people are asked to put forth a question, they end up making a speech. But here, when people are asked to give an answer, they end up making a speech.
Thank you so much.
It's really short.
Is there an answer? I think that's the answer, right? That's conclusive. Thank you for concluding the questions and answers session. So now, let's move on to the token of appreciation before we end. So, we can end. Sorry.
That's it, inshallah.
Thank you so much. Again, if you want to support this and support reviving the you can buy our merchandise and also the promo code, as I said, Tuna, which is an app for Islamic podcast, So, Tuna 75% discount. That's it. Please get your merchandise outside. Okay, thank you so much.